Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 chat. F1 silly season is fully in swing now and we're here to discuss all of the big rumours, all of the stuff that's going on, like Daniel Ricciardo, who is now back, Lando Norris going to Ferrari, and where will Carlos Sainz end up in 2025? Well, we'll start with the big one then, the one that is confirmed, the one that has happened, and the one that's taking F1 communities by storm. Daniel Ricciardo is back.
So happy to see his man back on the F1 grid, back where he belongs. And it might be behind the wheel of an Alpha Tauri, but he's still back where he belongs.
I was going to say, it's the first Red Bull driver to go from junior team to senior team to junior team over his career, but an interesting progression for him. I think it was harsh on Nyck, but the De Vries signing always made no sense to me because where was the end goal there? The point of Alpha Tauri is it's a junior team to develop talent for the first team, right? That makes sense on paper. Red Bull need drivers up in their first team. Not that it's been successful over the last few years. That's why they had to go and get Checo. But it didn't make sense then to bring in a 27-year-old who had no F1 experience and, I don't know, just didn't seem like he was going to get... I know he was an F2 champion only 4 years ago when he came in, but that just didn't make much sense to me. I feel like there were other options out there. Liam Lawson, who is actually now, doing really, really well in Super Formula, so maybe that was a good move to him to go out to Japan. But they definitely had other options out there. Or they could have poached talent from other teams, but we know Nyck De Vries wasn't the favoured option. We know Colton Herta was their preferred option, but they couldn't get that super licence ruling changed. So, yeah, basically, Nyck De Vries gone now. I think it's harsh, but I don't know. He wasn't doing well enough. He wasn't going anywhere, was he?
He wasn't good enough. He was definitely the worst driver of the grid in his first 11 race. I think it is harsh to not even let him get to the season break.
Yeah.
To drop him before Hungary is very, very brutal, but that's how Red Bull work.
It is.
They've brought in Daniel Ricciardo. I love Daniel Ricciardo, and we all know that Daniel Ricciardo at his best is a very, very quick driver. Again, though, I just don't know how much sense it makes.
I think it makes sense.
It does, but how long are you keeping in this seat for?
6 months.
But then
for me, so if you look at the Red Bull project right now, Alpha Tauri have a problem with Yuki, which we'll get on to because we already know about links with him and Honda and how that could be a problem for Red Bull in the future. But Alpha Tauri have no one at the moment. Like, Nyck is not going anywhere. Yuki has seemingly interests elsewhere and will probably want to be a first driver, which you can't give him at Red Bull. Then you've got, in the juniors, Iwasa looks alright, but again I'd have fears because he's got close ties with Honda. Dennis Hauger isn't really going to cut it. Dejan Darivala's going FE at best. So where is the Red Bull junior talent? Jack Crawford, I don't see it. Zane Maloney's too rough around the edges. I don't know. I feel like Red Bull don't have anyone coming through the pipeline now.
But that, for me, that is just really, really bizarre. Because they've got... nearly half the grid in Formula 2 is Red Bull backed. And to say that... And for them to think that none of them were good enough to step up, I just think it's bizarre.
But do you think it's a bit of a matter of quantity over quality? Because if you look at the more successful... I mean, we spoke about Red Bull, and obviously they've got so many drivers into F1, so that clearly works. That approach of just having so much talent that some of it's going to be good. But if you look at the more refined processes of Mercedes have had only one driver in their academy, and he's made F1. Because they nurtured George Russell through. They're now nurturing Paul Aron through in the same manner. And he's doing well in F3. Not, ridiculously well, but he's still doing well. And they're doing the same with Kimi Antonelli, who is ridiculous. So, is that approach better? Potentially.
I really don't know. It does feel like Red Bull have kind of just blocked off 9 drivers their route to Formula 1.
I don't know. I feel like for me there'll be 2 free seats come 2025.
Yeah, that's 2025. We're 2 years away from that.
But I don't think Iwasa wins the championship this year. In which case he doesn't need a 2024 seat.
He's technically, I think he's third at the moment.
He's definitely in the conversation, but even so, you could give him a year off. Piastri had a year off, not that McLaren gave him one, but Alpine did that and then they lost him. I understand that, but I do think you can give an F2 world champion a year off. Sometimes it's not the best to jump up immediately. I mean, look at Mick Schumacher. He jumped up immediately, didn't deal well with the step up. Maybe having a year of sitting as a reserve driver and getting used to the car, where you're not got the pressure of having to drive it every week.
I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to
see. I think when you have so many young drivers... I think if you delay someone like an Iwasa, if you don't get Iwasa in the Alpha Tauri for the next 2 years, what happens then? But then, not only you're pushing Iwasa back 2 years, but you're pushing back all the upcoming F2 and F3 and F4 drivers back another 2 years.
I think they're good enough they push through, though. Like, that's just the thing of it, isn't it?
But then it's swings and roundabouts.
Okay, but is there anyone other than Iwasa and F2 who's got a hope of making F1 right now? Because, well, maybe not a hope, that's harsh, but is there anyone in Formula 2 other than Iwasa who's backed by Red Bull that you seriously think could drive an F1 next season?
I think Maloney's got the pace.
I think Maloney could in the future. I don't think he's next season. I'd also be dubious about 2025. I think he's very quick, but he's way too erratic. And he's not quick enough to justify that.
You never know, because I wouldn't have said that Logan Sargent was good enough for Formula 1 this year. He's come in and he's done alright saying he's in a Williams.
He's done alright, but he's not torn the world apart. And Red Bull only want drivers that are going to be of the highest calibre, no?
Yeah, but in the Alpha Tauri, no one's going to tear the world apart because it's slow.
Certain drivers have.
Yeah, because it used
and
to be
that's what they want. They want Vettel, they want Verstappen, they want those sort of drivers.
They have to give the drivers something to use.
Yeah, I understand the Alpha Tauri's crap this year. Like, that's not...
I think the real test of how Daniel does. Because, yes, Daniel has struggled in the last few years, but he had 6 months sitting out as a Red Bull reserve. He's been around the Red Bull setup doing sim racing. If he goes into Alpha Tauri and is nowhere near the points, that shows how bad that Alpha Tauri is. I was going to say, because I just, he had a terrible stint at McLaren, but let's not forget how good he is, because I would probably put him... He's still... I think, terrible stint at McLaren, he's still won a Grand Prix.
Is he top 5 drivers of the last decade?
Yeah.
I think it's very close.
I think he's up, definitely top 10, 100% top 10.
Oh yeah, 100% top 10. I think for me, Alonso was really the decade before. I think Ricciardo, he's a lot of decades. Obviously Lewis Hamilton, probably Max Verstappen as well. I'd say he's outperformed him.
He's a 2-time world champion.
Vettel, Alonso, Rosberg. I wouldn't put Bottas ahead of him, put it that way.
No.
So then after that, he's definitely 6th. It's just whether you...
I'd probably put him tied with, I think, Raikkonen maybe.
Oh, Kimi's better. Yeah. But then was Kimi the decade before? Probably.
Who knows? I just think Daniel Ricciardo's a very quick driver. But for me, Red Bull have got to be careful. They've got so many young drivers coming up. They can't keep filling this Alpha Tauri seat with Nyck De Vries and Daniel Ricciardo. For me, I think Ricciardo is a short-term thing. But then why does that make sense for Daniel?
Because he wants to say chance of the Red Bull seat. Why is that unrealistic?
I don't know. But he's going to have to wipe the floor with everyone in that Alpha Tauri.
But I think Checo's seat's in serious danger.
I do too, because he's getting... I mean, at the moment, Tsunoda's out qualifying him. But I think Daniel's... would have, for me, I mean, I don't know how Red Bull see it, but Daniel would have to perform seriously well to show he deserves that Red Bull seat. But saying how bad that Alpha Tauri is, I don't think he's going to get the chance.
I don't know. But that's the thing. For Red Bull, it's either you keep Nyck De Vries in there for half a year, where there is nowhere for him to progress, and you just let him go at the end of the season, or you put Ricciardo in that car now, and if he does do something ridiculously good, you bring him into the Red Bull seat.
Yeah.
Is that just not positive for all fronts? And the commercial side of Daniel Ricciardo is a massive plus. Having him back in Formula 1, having his brand back in Formula 1, having him promoting the Alpha Tauri brand, which we know is going at the end of the year, so they're going to want to be selling as many T-shirts as possible between now and December. I think for me it just makes complete sense to have Ricciardo in that seat. He's also a safe pair of hands who will, not crash the car, you'd like to think. So at least, that's not a loss on that part. So I think it just makes sense. So, and then after that, Liam Lawson is apparently a shoo-in for Alpha Tauri.
I think he has to be.
It's interesting that he's been... Obviously, I think it makes sense he's been snubbed for this seat because he's got that Super Formula season to complete. But apparently he will be in the car either 2024... He'll be in F1 in 2024, apparently. Either in the Alpha Tauri team or another team. And he'll be in the Alpha Tauri team at 2025.
My thing is, I don't know what other teams could take one in 2024.
Any team likes money. Let's be honest, any team likes a bit of money.
But also everyone want to give him a decent car.
Haas? Would Haas let Magnussen go if they can not have to pay a driver to drive for them?
I don't know.
I think they do.
Maybe. God. It's a really I can't, it's hard to call Red Bull because they've got 20 drivers that could make Formula 1 the next 3 or 4 years.
I don't know, I don't see anyone in F3 that excites me. For Red Bull, of course.
Sebastian Montoya.
I don't know. I think he's good. I don't think he's F1 level though.
Yeah, but he's a child.
Yeah, but I can still look in F3 and I go, well, Bortoletto's got a better chance. I'd probably say that Marty's better than him. I'd say Mini's much better than him. I think there's definitely F3 drivers better than Montoya.
Yeah,
so
but...
There's no one in F3 at the moment for Red Bull that excites me. I think the most exciting Red Bull prospect is Arvad Lindblad. But he's not going to be in 20... He's not, even if he wins all the championships up into Formula 1, he won't be in F1 until 2026. So I think Red Bull definitely know what their long-term plan is, or have some idea what their long-term plan is.
You can't call Red Bull because Helmut Marko just say something or do something that nobody expects him to.
He needs to stop talking. Honestly, take the mic away from him. There's no wonder journalists are always around him, because you know he's going to give you something amazing.
Like 1 minute it's like, oh my god, he's got Nyck De Vries. The next minute it's like, oh my god, he's got rid of Nyck De Vries. Yeah. Daniel Ricciardo's better, everyone.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Red Bull main seat then, before we touch on other rumours and stuff. Red Bull main seat. Do you think Perez is safe for the end of this season?
No.
Do you think he's got a seat for next year?
It is unacceptable to be
Why?
that bad in a Red Bull.
Yeah.
You're getting knocked out in Q1 consistently.
But is that a problem for Red Bull?
Yes.
Why?
Because you cannot have a Red Bull driver getting knocked out in Q1 every single race.
But why? He's still second in the championship. He's still regularly taking second place. No, I agree with that. But while he still is, I don't know.
Yeah, but if he keeps consistency up for a whole season, he's going to end up 5th in the championship.
I think he's definitely had a tough season. I think but mainly due to qualifying. He's really struggled in qualifying.
Things you can't. If you compare him to Max Verstappen's performances, then yeah, it's fine. He also sit down in Q1 because they're going to piss constructors anyway because he's not by himself.
No, exactly.
But if Red Bull actually want to compare it to where they want to be fighting, because they've got to be careful. Because what if they keep Checo despite his below par performances, but then Merck deliver next year and they need a second driver on the pace and he's pissing around in 18th?
That's the exact thing I was hoping you'd say. But I think for me, Perez is fine for this season. In terms of next season, it's going to be interesting who they can get. I don't know who you get. Apparently they have had talks with both Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris.
It would be so Red Bull to give Daniel Hungary and Belgium.
And then bring it out, they wouldn't.
And then swap him and Perez for the season break.
But yeah, I think for me, Lando would be the ideal.
Yeah.
Because as much as he is probably fast enough to fight with Max, I think Max is still fine. I don't think Lando offers him too much of a challenge. He will fight, he will claim wins, and he won't let Max win 10 on a trot. But,
Lando would be an idiot to turn down Red Bull.
Well, unless he's got an option elsewhere. Should we move on to Lando Norris?
This is ridiculous.
Lando Norris has, according to some media outlets, not going to say they're wrong or whatever, but I wouldn't trust their reliability. Apparently Lando Norris has signed a pre-contract with Ferrari.
He'd be an idiot.
Why?
How
can you turn down Ferrari?
Oh, no, you can. Look at the way they have constructed and they have gone about their business in the last 2 years.
It's still Ferrari.
An absolute shit show.
It's still Ferrari.
Why would you want to drive for that? I don't care if it's Ferrari.
The history.
If he wants to win a world championship, if he wants to win a races...
Oh yeah, don't do it in the most successful team in Formula 1 history, the one that, Michael Schumacher won.
They'll put you on the wrong tyre, they won't even put you on tyres because they'll forget how to do it, or your car will blow up.
You just got to trust, obviously, that they will...
Oh, you can't.
You can't say McLaren are any more competent. They've been nowhere this year.
Well, at least the car lasts...
Until last round, they did nothing.
The car lasts the Grand Prix.
Does it? Because the first two, he couldn't finish.
No, but with Lando... No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you should stay at McLaren, but he is good enough to get the Merc or Red Bull seat.
But he's not number one driver either, those. Does he not? You've just said he wants to win a world championship, right?
But he's never won a race, so he can't. But also, look at Charles, first driver at Ferrari.
I don't think Charles staying at Ferrari.
No. But what I'm saying is, you look at he is the first driver. Look at the performances. It's 2022. They thought they were in the championship, right? Miles off because the team incompetent and the car kept blowing up. This season,
but Charles also made his fair share of mistakes.
He made a couple. He binned it at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, that's one that always comes to my head.
That's one.
Still 25 points dropped.
Yeah, but even if Lando doesn't make that error, he gets those 25 points. He's then...
Maybe the team were inspired then to nail all their pit stops.
No, don't even go.
But if you had a bigger gap, the strategy wouldn't matter.
No. I love Lando, but he'd be an absolute idiot.
He wouldn't be an idiot to join Ferrari. That's just a fact. It's Ferrari. No one's an idiot for joining Ferrari.
Who's his teammate? Because he wants to be first driver. He's got to be someone that's worse than him.
This could be the interesting. Could it be a young Ollie Bearman? What?
Let's move on.
What? What's wrong with what I've said?
He's 18 years old.
And?
They're not going to chuck him in the Ferrari.
No, but if he gets...
lucky they chuck him in the Haas.
But if he wins the championship this year...
He's not going to win the... No!
Why not?
You said Haas wasn't going to challenge him, but Ollie Bearman is. That's a joke. Yeah. No.
Look at F3 last season. Ollie was much further off than he was at this point.
And he didn't win it.
In the F2. He came very close.
He came fourth?
He came very, very close. No, he's third.
No.
And it all came down to the final race where he got completely cocked. He got completely cocked because they ended the race early.
I thought it was Hajar, Martins, Maloney.
They ended it early, mate. So he would have won.
It doesn't matter they ended it early.
It does. That is literally what cost him the championship. Because they red flagged it and then they had to end it early because the F2 was coming. He's not going
to win the F2 championship.
Why not?
Oh, because he's not as good as Porsche. Predicting. He's not as good as Wassa.
Yes,
he's not as good as Vesti.
Vesti I will just about give you, but he is, I would say, as good as Porsche.
Yeah, Porsche is in an ART and that ART is very good.
No, it's not.
I've not seen the ART go, it goes brr.
No, it doesn't. It's good in qualifying, it's shit in the race. Shit in race room. I think he's better than Iwasa. Iwasa's in his second season, like. Same for Vesti. Bearman's up there and it's his first year.
Even so, he's not gets Ferrari seat.
Oh, if he gets the Haas seat and then he wins all the races. But anyway. Who else haven't we spoken about yet? We haven't spoken about either current Ferrari drivers and their links. So, should we start with Charles Leclerc?
Sure.
Charles Leclerc, of course, we all know him, Monegasque, Ferrari driver, apparently linked with both. Well, Red Bull have had talks to him and he's had talks with Mercedes. So he's clearly looking elsewhere, isn't he?
Right. Red Bull will be idiots to take him because he'd be way too close to Max, if not ahead of him.
And do they not want two competitive drivers?
No, because as you said earlier, being behind Verstappen is not a problem for Red Bull, but they just need to make sure that he is behind Verstappen and not 15 places behind Verstappen.
Do they need a safety net in case Max Verstappen just decides to leave? Because he said multiple times he's going to go.
What planet is Max Verstappen going to decide to leave?
He might. He might just go in 2028. I'm off.
He will not leave until he breaks Schumacher and Hamilton's records.
Why?
Because he'd be an idiot.
But on multiple times he said he doesn't care about that.
Oh no.
He's just happy to win championships. He just likes driving.
What rubbish.
If he gets bored, he'll dip.
He has the ability and the car to win another 6 World Championships to send him to 8. And then he goes down as the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time. And you're telling me he doesn't care about that?
He has said on multiple times.
Yeah, but who cares what he says?
Okay, let's just not believe him.
A load of rubbish.
Okay, well that's like going, oh well, you can't trust the Telegraph because the Sun chat shite. They're different things.
No, Max Verstappen, even if he says that, he will care about that record. He will know in his mind he has what it takes to be known as the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time and to win 8
I could see him going in 2028. Even if he wins the next 6 and quits in 2029, they still need a backup plan.
But who says Charles going to stay around for the next 5-6 years?
Because he really wants to win a championship, and if Max wins them all.
But Charles will not sit in a Red Bull. He won't play second fiddle to Max Verstappen for 6 years and then go 2029's here, now's my chance, just for a Liam Lawson who's flying up there.
Oh yeah,
Lindblad.
You cannot tell me Liam Lawson's going to win a world championship.
I'm not saying no. This brings me back though. It circles back to what you were saying earlier. That in terms of the time frame, as soon as Max Verstappen retires, in comes Lindblad, then he wins 7 World Championships, and Paul Leclerc just plays second fiddle to Max Verstappen and Lindblad.
But how do we know Lindblad's going to be any good?
Oh, because look at him.
There's been loads of good karters that have gone on to do nothing. Most of the FE drivers are great karters. They did nothing. Now they're in electrified go-karts.
He's Red Bull.
And?
Even Sebastian Buemi still made it to Formula 1.
Didn't stay around very long.
He still made it.
He did make it. Fair enough.
Red Bull don't just pick up random karts from the street.
Why don't Red Bull... Because their academy's not doing a lot. Why don't they just poach from other teams?
It's boring.
It is, but like...
I think it's so boring.
Why don't they just nick Ollie Bearman? Like what Ferrari could do. If they tell Ollie Bearman you can have an Alpha Tauri seat next season, he takes it, doesn't he?
But again, though, it depends. Does he want to play second fiddle?
What, Ollie?
Yeah.
in Alpha Tauri. There is no second and first driver.
He's not the Alpha Tauri seat next year.
Why not?
Oh, well, don't go there.
They're promising Liam Lawson a seat for 2025. Why don't they do the same for Ollie?
Because Liam Lawson's better.
No, that is the worst thing you've ever said.
No, it's not.
He's not better. Like, that is straight up a fact. He's not better than Ollie Bearman.
We'll see what happens in the F2 Championship. Liam Lawson finished. Where did he finish? Second last year.
He did.
Exactly.
And they still didn't even think, oh, you know what, you could go in F1. They sent him off to Super Formula.
Because, as I said, Helmut Marko just does weird things and then got Nyck De Vries. who won Formula E 2 years prior.
Yeah. And opened the Super 4.
Bearman can win the championship and he'll go get Liam Lawson who's won Super Formula.
I could see Ollie Bearman in Alpha Tauri. I think Dr. Helmut Marko is the type of guy to just sort of walk into Ferrari, slap his boot on the table, and go, I'm having Ollie Bearman, and there's nothing you can do about it.
So it's like, okay, yeah, do that then.
Exactly.
Let's not make our own rumours.
Okay.
Let's stick. Where were we?
Well, Sainz or Tsunoda, where do we want to go next? Probably Tsunoda while we're on the topic of it.
Sure.
Yuki Tsunoda, where do we see his future? Do we think he is future Red Bull? Do we think he is added to Aston Martin? Obviously, Honda are teaming up with Aston Martin from 2026, or was it earlier? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think he's neither.
You don't think? Where is he going then?
Nowhere.
What? So Yuki's just gonna
I think
quit?
he's off the grid.
You think Yuki Tsunoda's off the grid?
Yeah.
That's what I was so
No,
cool.
it's not. Okay,
That's
tell me,
terrible.
on what ground should Yuki Tsunoda stay on the Formula 1 grid?
Jesus Christ. You are actually waffling.
I'm not. How am I waffling?
He's such a good driver. What? Like, we may
I need to see
we may not
I need
say that Nyck De Vries has been excellent this year. He's still a 27-year-old guy with loads of racing experience. And Tsunoda...
27?
Where's
his time gone?
Well, he's a year older than Max, isn't he?
That is ridiculous.
It's just that obviously
Max Verstappen.
just that Max sort of jumped all the formulas, all the junior formulas. But yeah, I think for me, Tsunoda is one of the more promising young drivers on the grid.
He doesn't get into Red Bull.
Why not?
Because he's not quick enough.
Yes, he is. Sorry, you just moaned at Perez because he can't qualify. So he's been out qualifying with Alpha Tauri. Stick with the Red Bull, he's top 10 every time. Easy.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
I still don't think he's good enough.
You are honestly such a waffle.
Because, okay, look at it. Is he better than Lewis Hamilton? No. Is he better than Charles Leclerc? No.
But he didn't need to be.
But Perez has been.
But they can't bring a Charles Leclerc.
But Perez has
No, he
been.
hasn't.
He
you
has.
cannot tell me
You-
Sergio Perez is anywhere near Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc. That is the worst.
No, not on ability levels, but he has delivered performances where he has gone quicker.
Why couldn't Tsunoda?
Because he won't. I
Okay,
don't think he will.
well, Tsunoda at Azerbaijan last season was going to be fifth until his rear wing snapped in half. Lewis Hamilton was lower than that. Absolutely duppied him, mate.
Because he's
Lewis should retire.
Mercedes.
Tsunoda owned him.
No.
Actually had him, mate.
You're being silly now.
Being silly now. Ocon won a race, mate. Everyone else should quit because Ocon's the best.
That's not what I'm saying.
That is what you're saying. You're saying
Not
Perez
what
has
I'm
had some
saying.
good performances against the big guy.
That's not what I'm saying.
But Tsunoda's a lot younger. He can develop. For me, Tsunoda's going to go to Aston Martin and replace Alonso when he retires. Or when he just decides to go and join another team for a laugh.
When Alonso's not going to leave.
Yes, he is.
When? He won't. We'll write him drive forever.
He's going to stop at some point. I think Tsunoda will be an Alpha Tauri for the 2025 season. Not Alpha Tauri, Aston Martin for the 2025 season.
He's 30 years old at that point.
No, he's not.
You said he's 27.
Nyck De Vries, you actually don't listen, do you?
No, you fully said.
I said Nyck De Vries.
No, you didn't. No. Watch his back wheel. I watched it. You said Yuki Tsunoda was 27.
No, I said Yuki Tsunoda. No, I said Nyck De Vries, who we have clowned on, is still a 27-year-old with loads of racing experience, and Yuki's duppied him. That's exactly what I said.
About that. You said nothing about experience.
He's 23.
You stated that Yuki Tsunoda. But then why didn't you correct me the first time? Since I
I've
answered
not
it
said
then?
that because I didn't know what the fuck you were waffling on about, mate. You shout so much shite. Yuki Tsunoda is 23. He's going to develop. He's not 27.
Well, that's what I thought you said.
How did you? That's mental.
What? So then when I act shocked, you decided not to correct me.
Because I thought you thought Nick was surprisingly old. Obviously.
No, because I knew he was old. Because that's why he did Formula 8.
Anyway,
So the old shit people go.
This has took a weird turn. Shall we move on to Sainz? Before you get too annoyed. Carlos Sainz, linked with a move to Audi. Obviously, Audi joined the grid in, some point over the next couple of seasons, aren't they? 2025, I believe, is the official start of Audi, though they may even be in before then. can't remember. Anyway, 2025 I think is when they join. Apparently, Sainz is considering a move in 2025. Do you think that'd be a smart idea?
100%. Ferrari haven't been great. He hasn't been great in Ferrari. And
has he not?
Isn't it? No.
He's a race winner. He's a pole sitter.
He won one race.
And? It's more than Lando Norris. You seem to think he's going to win a world championship.
They were. No. No, you cannot. I'm not going to respond.
So is Ocon. He's not going to win a world championship.
I'm going to carry out the same point was Ferrari were the quickest car for the first half of the 2022-23 season. The 21-22 season. Oh, whichever season it was, they were the fastest. The 2022 season, that one. I forgot it's not like football, it's not span of 2 years.
I'm so confused.
And he was nowhere near. Max and Leclerc dominated it, he was miles off. And then this year, I haven't even seen him. I forgot he raced in some of the races. I haven't even seen him. Where have you seen Carlos Sainz this year?
He's done fine.
Fine.
He's in a tragic car.
Well, and there you go, and you were saying
okay, so Sainz outperformed Leclerc by 9 points. Yet Leclerc's great and going to win world championships, and Sainz is shy.
I never said Leclerc's going to win world championships.
You said he was good. You certainly didn't say, oh yeah, he's terrible and he didn't do well in the Ferrari season. Look, Sainz is a great driver. Like, he is just a really solid driver. He may not be the quickest, but he's a perfect second driver. Ferrari's sort of stupid to let him leave unless they really believe that Ollie Bearman and Lando Norris is the partnership to take them forward. But yeah, other than that, what are you smirking at?
I just can't believe what you're saying.
What?
Ferrari wouldn't be stupid to let Sainz go.
Yes, they would.
Especially they've got Ollie Bearman, who's a god apparently, waiting in the wings.
He is.
He's not a god. You cannot say Ollie Bearman's a god.
I didn't say he's God. You said that.
I was being sarcastic.
God, you're so irritable.
No, you're just making silly opinions.
I'm not making silly opinions.
You are.
Ollie Bearman is an incredibly talented driver, and he will be a
He's not going to get a Ferrari seat next year, though, is he?
I never said that. I've never said that. You take everything I say in this video and just twist it. Anyway, shall we call it there? Because this has been an interesting episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this conversation. If you have, please do get involved in the comments below. Give us your thoughts. Hopefully you can work out some of the discussion. It's been a bit mangled. However, yeah, hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. That is everything for today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.